and good evening to wherever you may be watching from tonight. We're here for Season 8 at the Chinese Grand Prix of Formula Endurance Series as the cars start leaving the garages now. I'm G-Force Ford, I'll be your commentator for tonight's race. I'm filling in for KD, who's been the usual commentator throughout the season. So tonight we have 16 drivers in front of us and a short 18-minute qualifying session before a 100% race as these cars will take to the track now. So Dan, the racer, first out on track for his outlap. Few new names in this tier that I'm not 100% sure of yet, so I'm looking forward to finding out how all of these guys drive and hopefully get a good race in front of us. So, China, a few track facts about the circuit. It was last seen on the calendar in 2019 for the Chinese and Shanghai Grand Prix. Before COVID, obviously, this counts for the last recent run-ins around this place. Came into F1 22 as a DLC a couple of months ago now. So yeah, these F1 22 cars haven't been seen around here in real life before. So it will be a little bit difficult for the drivers to get their setups right, as they don't really have any real life information to go off. Stand the race starts setting up for his lap now. A couple of characteristics about the circuit are long twisty turns, as you see down the race coming out of now, and also turn 1. These do add a lot of character to the circuit. However, I don't necessarily like them a lot. I know they have very mixed opinions about it, as it can ruin the flow of racing. So it can be something the drivers a little bit more of a technical part of the circuit that the drivers will have to be careful of, but you do have that long back straight there as well, which should help set up some overtaking that we can see tonight. So we'll jump on board for the first lap here with Dan the racer as he opens DRS onto the pit straight past some big grandstand on the left to us. So you want to get as far as to the left side of the circuit, setting up for turn 1, long right-hander. You got to modulate the brake pedal, drop down the gears, not too quickly, otherwise you can unstabilize the car, and then you dip into a sharp left as well. Very similar to what that long right is, just a bit of a shorter left. And back on full throttle, open the gears, all the way up to 7th gear, red line the car, changes to 8, 100 meter board on your left is your braking marker, down to 2nd gear and short shift out of this exit here. Now into the middle part of the track, sector 2 now. You've got a long left-hander, you should try and be flat out in qualifying, followed by another long right-hander that you have to modulate the brake pedal and downshifts on. The last boards on the edge of the track there are your braking marker for this double left-hander. It adds back onto a short straight as you pass under a DHL board. Once again, 100 meter board on your right-hand side, braking point down to 2nd gear, rotate the car left, and now you've got to set up for a long right-hander. Exit is the most important thing here. The earlier you get to full throttle, the better. And use all of the exit curve available to you. Now, long back straight. Now I think it is 1.1 kilometer circuit straight. Got DRS open, and once again you're looking at the 100 meter board on the left here, just under a Rolex board. Shifting all the way down to 2nd gear, just missing apex there from Dan the racer. And back on the exit again on the throttle. 50 meter board, 2 gears down here. Just clip the apex and use a little bit more exit curve than that if you can. And over across the line, and the race sets a 1 minute 34.728 to start us off for tonight. He's followed by a Ferrari of Clean Break, who goes to beat that by 4/10, and then New Zealand Andre beats that as well by 5/10. The time's coming in thick and fast here now. There's an Alfa Romeo coming across the line. That is Steely, I believe. Starting his lap now. Old mate's also gone up to P3 there. We have an Alpha Tauri finishing off his lap. Might be Clunky Boy by the look of it. So he's coming up to the final corner. There we go, a little bit more exit curve used there than what Dan the racer did, and he goes up to the top now, 4/10 clear of New Zealand Andre. There's Rebel behind him. I think Prezo might have made a mistake on his lap. He's a couple seconds off the pace. We also have a spin now as well as Lane. Ibrahim has spun out the final corner, waiting to turn the car around in a safe place, and he does so now as Sub Kumar goes up to the top. They're only at 33.269, so quite close there currently between Clunky Boy and Kumar. And we have as Spicy Salami gets a big slide on the exit there. He's only on the mediums and he gets another slide, so the setup isn't looking the best for him yet. He still puts it up to the top of mediums. I'm interested to see what the other drivers are on. So New Zealand Andre is also on mediums. Everybody else in the field is on softs. So we have a lot of cars coming up to the line now. Take that away for now. I think Sealy will be finishing his lap up to the final corner. Keeps it in 5th. Doesn't use all the exit curve available to him. Across the line, he jumps up to 7th now. As you've seen Aston Martin dive into the pits. Slam. Looks like he's beginning his lap. No, Dan the Racer could be going in pits, yes. Prezzo could be on another flying lap here, however. Right on board for the final moments of this lap. He jumps up to the final corner. Clips the apex, clips the exit curb, up to the line. Jumps up to P3, just behind Subkuma. And over to Mercedes now. Love controller. So early stages of qualifying here, I'd expect the field to probably go at least maybe upwards of half a second quicker for their final runs. That's been everyone, so it'll be interesting to see how fast these times do get. We'll see Salami going up into the pits there. Clunky Boy beginning another lap by the looks of things. He jumps up through turn 1. The camber of this corner also makes it quite a difficult corner to the car doesn't want to grip up on that long right hander. The track kind of falls away from you a little bit, which is difficult to maintain. Meaning tyre pressures have to be a little bit lower for this circuit, allowing for more traction throughout corners such as that. Again, if you ride on board through this one, you'll see the track falls away a little bit through this left-hander. There's not much camber to play with, making it a little bit unstable again for the car. So it is another characteristic of the Chinese circuit that the drivers will have to adapt their setups for. So see Clunky Boy head up towards the final sector now. From that apex curb, you really got to compensate on that first curb. So that this long right-hander you get right. The earlier, as you said, you can get to full throttle, the better it is. The better run you'll have down this straight, which is obviously quite important as he lasts on this straight for probably about 10 seconds, 10-15 seconds. And towards the final corner, I'll be interested to see if Clunky Boy does go on to finish this lap. Probably change tyres if he wanted to. Get 2 more runs. No, he's going to finish the lap. So through the final corner again he goes up to the line. Does he improve? No. 10th and a half off his best current time right now. As you see, old mate's about to begin a lap. His teammate Bags Liddell's on the outlap. We'll follow him for a lap around the Chinese circuit. So the time is quite split now. Hopefully they get a little bit closer as the session continues. Looks very nice there from Bags, modulating that throttle well. You see a very sharp left turn using about 90 degrees steering angle, and then trying to open the steering up as quickly as you can on this exit. Just get power down again as he goes past now for Terry, getting out the way on your right. A little bit deep there, using probably a little bit too much exit curve. He was perfect through sector 1 though, which is very promising to see. Has to lift a little bit through that left hand and must have missed apex a little bit and had to compensate. Using double left hand sweeper now. That's his sector 2 split, looking like he's purple again, so this is looking like a provisional pole time. Currently from Bags, if he's able to hook up the rest of the lap here. He probably knows he has a few more tenths in sector 2 there as well. A couple of mistakes there. So there's a little bit of traffic in front of him now. Alpine on his right, getting out the way comfortably. As we've seen over time, and I love races out. I love controllers out, sorry. In 11th, that looks like it's just at the end of sector 2. As you can see on the track map in the bottom right. Bags maybe a little bit deep there again. Into the penultimate corner and now into the final corner. How does this lap finish up? He invalidates this final corner. Let's see what the lap would have been. 33.201, so he would have gone up to the top just over Spicy, who is now in the softs as he begins his lap. So we'll follow this lap as well, as he currently is our provisional pole today on the mediums. Oh, he's still on the mediums. Never mind, we won't worry about it then. Subkuma's on his lap. He's just off Spicy as well. So let's see if he's able to finish up and jump his car into provisional pole position as we have 7 minutes left in this qualifying session now. Onto the long right-hander, flat out in 4th gear. Subkuma able to probably get on the power a little bit earlier than most people, from what I've seen around that corner. New Zealand Andre now jumps up to the top with a 33.1, so he's just under a tenth quicker than Spicy in the Ferrari there. Up to the final corner, what's Kumar able to do? Has he improved on his time? No, he jumps into the pit, so he'll wait till the end of the session and now put a fresh set on. Prezzo is probably made a mistake in that lap. Oh, and we caught a spin there on camera as well. Very easy place to spin as curb unsettles the car quite easily back there. Spice is about to finish his lap now on the mediums. We saw the split was about 8 thousandths of a second, then I think he might just improve on his time. He does by just over a tenth of a second, so puts the car back in first. Still being on the mediums, mind you, so he is showing his pace quite clearly. And we have a few other cars about to finish their laps as well. Steely coming through the final corner now. And now from Mo, able to keep it within the track limits. Well done. Opens DRS up to the line. He sets a 34.1. Goes 2 tenths quicker. Don't think he made any positions from that though. So it's very rare to see a lap where you improve by 2 tenths and don't actually improve on your lap time. So Prezzo's not on the lap. Andre's pitting. We saw his time just get pipped then by Spicy. Spicy be looking to go back in his pits as well. Lane's on an outlap. Do we have anyone else on a lap? Slammer jumps into the pits. It's Mercedes in the back straight. I think we saw him have a mistake in the middle sector there. Watch the data. Right, we're following for the rest of this lap. No, it looks like he's pulled out of it. I think, yeah, the flashing lights on through the back. He's not on a lap. So it looks like Lane is the only one who is actually out on track setting up for a lap. In the Williams here. Currently smack bang pretty much in the middle of the field. Alongside Steely. So as Lane comes up to the final corner, he'll change the RS setting into hot lap and begin a flying lap here around Shanghai. Down the pit straight again, a massive grandstand looking over the pits here. Good viewing point for spectators. And up through turn 1, modulating throttle and brake at the same time. You can see that indicator just below the kilometre an hour sign down the bottom of the screen. 3rd gear on this exit, short shifting up to 4th, and now full throttle into 5th gear on the exit. Very fast right hand here, flat out, and 100 metre board as said on your right hand side. He's purple through sector 1, up by 2.5 tenths through sector 1, so Lane has managed to find a lot of time through that opening sector there. Now into the flat out left hander. A little lift again, similar to Bags. Now he's off the throttle and onto the brakes. A little bit more here through the double left-hander. Keeps it in 4th. Yeah, short shift into 5th. Not quite full throttle in 5th there. But right on board through this long left and right-hander here. Oh, he's gone a little bit deep. That's going to hurt him on some time there. You can see hugging inside. Let the camber help the car around the right-hander there. Car sort of glues into that corner and can get on traction a little bit sooner, opening DRS, as you can see. There's a car in front of him, it shouldn't affect him, I believe that is Subkuma. And braking heavily at the 100 metre board, clipping the apex nicely by the look of it and using all the exit available to him on track before you touch that curb. Now up to the final corner, what can Lane do? As we see him run up to the line, a little mistake there, his car kind of caught onto the inside of the track. Jumps up to P3, a tenth off Spicy, half a tenth off New Zealand Andre up top. So quite close between the top 3, top 4, even the top 5. Only a couple of tenths separating them right now. Subkuma's back on his lap. We also have Old Mate down in P11 on a lap behind Subkuma. and then a Ferrari as well, I believe. New Zealand Andre's on his outlap. So 2 minutes 20 left in the qualifying session now. We'll see a lot of cars coming out of the pits. If you look at the track map indicator on the bottom right once again, cars making sure they can obviously get their final run and qualifying in. So purple for Sub Kumar through that middle sector there, up by half a tenth on his time. So he's got to find a little bit more throughout the rest of this lap. He might be running a little bit higher winds, which is helping him through that middle sector, but he might be losing time down this back straight. Opening DRS, we'll see what his car is able to reach in terms of speed. About 320, 330 kilometers an hour there, just clicked on it. Braking heavily. Just narrowly clipping the apex there as well. Final corner, rolls the car through a little slide on exit. Subkuma comes up to the line. Does he go up to the top? No, he must have made a big mistake there. 4 tenths off, so quite a high downforce setup, as I mentioned, by the looks of things so far. We also have Old Mate, who just finished his lap. He just moved up to P10 then. That's his qualifying session done. And we have New Zealand Andre starting a lap just behind him now. Final laps of the session now for these drivers. So New Zealand Andre, can he snatch pole here at the depth? We'll see everybody's on the soft tyres, so there's no more medium tyre shenanigans, mixing up the order. Where the drivers finish in the next minute is where they will be starting for this 100% race. New Zealand Andre, what's his first sector split as he comes across the mark? He's 2.5 tenths down in his time, so made a big mistake through there by the looks of things. There's an Aston Martin as well. Looks like Bags Liddell will follow him through the first sector, see if he's up on his time. We did see a big mistake from Bags, remember, through what I think was turn 5. His lane's retired from the session. That's in pit lane, so his session is also done now. Across the first sector, Splee's purple for Bags. He also hooks up this corner by the looks of things a lot more tidy than he did last time. There's also Rebel behind him, that's Spicy. Spicy's up by 2.5 tenths through the first sector alone, so Spicy got a lot of potential in that lap as well. Watch Data going through. Watch Data's purple. He hasn't set a lap time yet. It's going to be interesting where he goes. We'll jump back to New Zealand Andre as he is now onto the back straight. He's still a 1.5 down on his time right now, so not looking like an improvement. He's actually turned off the battery, so that is New Zealand Andre's qualified session done, unfortunately. Bags Liddell now coming out of the long right-hand sweeper. Don't get the best camera angle. We'll look at Spicy. He's 5 tenths up in his time now, Spicy. So looking very promising for pole position here. His teammates behind him are Prezzo. Prezzo's up by 3.5 tenths. So it's very close between these drivers currently. Watch Data. What's he? Up by no timing Data currently. Clunky Boy, he's coming down. We'll jump back to Bags Liddell now as he comes up to the line. What time can he set? A 32.6 currently, provisional pole. Spicy coming across the line now. What can he do? He goes 32.1, clears it by half a second. Who's next? It looks like Prezzo. Prezzo jumps at P3 with 32.8, followed by Mercedes Watch Data. 32.1, just misses out on pole position. Only half a tenth in between it. Clunky Boy jumps up to P5 now. We have a Ferrari as well, that looks like it is clean break. He jumps up to P9. Plebs might be finishing his lap by the looks of things as well. He jumps up to P5, so a couple tenths off for the moment. Reshin in the McLaren jumps to P6. Our final driver, I believe, is Steely, who's now coming up to the line, and I don't think he improved on that lap. So, a lot of times jumping around there in the final moments of that qualifying session, keeping it interesting. I did mention that times would get a lot faster as the session went on, which we definitely saw, but Spicy, pole position here for the Chinese Grand Prix after an 18-minute short qualifying session. He'll line up alongside the Mercedes of Watch Data, only half a tenth off. So very close between the two drivers on the front row there. Behind them, Bags Liddell will start P3, Prezzo P4, and Plebs will round out your top 5 in the Alfa Romeo. So a lot of drivers from 3rd probably down to 10th, only within a second, so quite close there. And obviously 1st and 2nd as well, Spicy and Data, half a tenth not much in it. Prezzo's left, hopefully he can get an invite back. As it looks quite overcast here before the race begins. Usually China is quite renowned for staying dry throughout the race. However, a bit of rain will definitely spice a few things up. Just waiting on the drivers now to select their strategies for the race, so they'll be changing things like the tyres. I'm not sure what the ideal strategies around here. They have 3 sets obviously available to them in the dry, being soft, medium and hards. Sub Kumar's left as well now, so that's 2 drivers. Hopefully we can get these guys back in before race start, or at least just after race start. These drivers will also be changing to things like fuel as well. Some might underfuel if they're able to save throughout the race. Some might overfuel if they know they'll burn throughout the race. And you can see there on the right hand side, I think I Love Controller just changed his tyres to mediums. As you can see the mediums in the pit garage there. But 10 seconds now until race session is starting. There will be a formation lap first. And then we'll be underway for lights out here. Okay, so it looks like quite a bit of the field are on soft, so I'll pull up the tyre graphic now and we'll run through the final order ahead of this race start. So Spicy will line us up on pole on the soft tyres. He'll be alongside the Mercedes of Wash Data on softs as well. Starting in P3 is the first of the medium runners, Bags Liddell and Aston Martin. He lines up along Prezzo, who's currently out of the session. Hopefully he gets an invite back and makes it in for race start. So Prezzo will be starting on the softs from his AI. Plev's P5 in the Alfa Romeo, he's on the softs as well. He'll be starting alongside McLaren of Reshin, also on the softs in P6. Now, Clunky Boy, the only runner on hard, is going to be interested in how he goes in this first stint. He is looking for the race to come to him a little bit later on by the looks of things. So he'll be starting P7. Alongside him is New Zealand Andre in P8 on the mediums. P9, Lane Everingham, we saw his last qualifying lap with a little mistake there towards the end of the lap. He starts P9 on mediums alongside Sub Kumar, who's out of the session as well on the softs. Clean break in the second Ferrari, starting in P11 on the softs, and then we have Steely starting alongside him in P12 on the mediums. Old Mate is the second of Aston Martins on mediums, followed by Slammer, the last run on the softs here in P14. And rounding out the grid in P15 and P16 is I Love Controller and Dan Race, both on mediums. So this camera angle really gives you a good idea about how long this back straight actually is. As you see, the cars wrapping around the final corner, all weaving to warm up their tyres. It does do minimal amount of tyre wear as well. As we can see, predicted pit stop strategy down the bottom. I assume that will be a little bit different. We saw down there a soft to a medium. I think some of these drivers might try and extend a soft to a medium or a soft to a hard. Or for the drivers starting on medium, such as Bags in P3, he might go medium to soft, or medium soft following that strategy. But the drivers now around in the final corner, put in the car in the grid slots. Obviously it's a new feature added into this game. We can see a Ferrari off the track in the background there, using the Astro. So Spicy lines us up on pole position. This gives us a good camera angle for the start. I am going to take this away. Oh, Spicy drops back a little bit. He's played with the limits a little bit too much there. So with all 17 cars now lined up, look at the lights at the top left of the screen. We'll be underway after the 5th red light. And it's lights out. It looks like quite a good start from the Mercedes alongside Spicy there. Data gets a great start up to turn 1. They're going to be side by side through the long right-hander. Data with the inside will have a better approach throughout turn 1. He looks like he's got ahead of the Red Bull. They're still side by side. And now Data gets in front. Spicy still keeping the nose there. Data should get better exit on the outside there, which he does. So Data moves off in P1, Spicy P2. We'll open up her graphic now again. Plevs maintaining P4. Prezzo trying to put a little bit of pressure as that's Sub Kuma goes sit in the Haas there. Bags still maintaining his P3 with Plevs on the softs, putting a lot of pressure on behind him. Bags on the inside should hold the position. He does. Moving down the order, everyone, it's a one-line corner through here, really, making it difficult to go too wide. So everyone following through. Looks like Slammer had a poor start, and also Old Mate, they might have tangled together, had a spin there. Still a long race, 56 lap race around here. So move back up to the front of the field now. Data still maintaining the lead of this race ahead of Spicy. Only half a second separating these guys. They've nearly pulled out a DRS from Bags, who is on the mediums in P3. So we can see them jump onto the back straight now. If we can see any drivers are close there. It looks like quite a big gap. There's Ferrari pulled off on the inside, and there's also a spin there. That's Steely with a spin at the back. I'm not sure if there was contact. It did look like the car just got away from him ever so slightly towards the end there. Spicy looking for a move. Wasn't able to get one. Flicked down the order again, and you can see New Zealand Andre going defensive. We did see that car on the inside of the circuit on that long camera angle for the straight. So Ferrari's following quite closely, so we'll see if they can work together as we see a car fly up in the pits. That's I Love Controller at the back there. And the field rounds the final corner to complete lap 1. The two Ferraris are going side by side through turn 1, and I can see why Andre's going slowly. He does have wind damage on his front left-hand side end plate, which you'll see right now. That's a pretty good camera angle of it there. Or as we see a spin as well, his teammate Clean Brakes just lost traction on exit. That was a very slow spin indeed. We'll see he jumps down to P14 and now P15 as Steely gets past him again. So we'll see if Clean Brake can come back on a little bit later in the race. I Love Controller must get damage there as well. He's into the pits and put on the hards. That might go to the end of the race, a hard compound tyre. We'll see if Plebs in P3. He's got past Bags with L now as he bottoms out on the curb there. Obviously running quite a low ride height in that case. All Bags outbrakes himself, nearly hits the back of Plebs. Back there compromised for this long right-hander. We'll jump back on board now. You can see Prezzo and Reshin both following very closely. Bags obviously on the slower tyre here. As you can see, Prezzo's using his battery. Looks like the McLaren behind is also using his battery a little bit. We'll ride on board with Reshin here as they go 3 wide into the hairpin, and Reshin looks like he's going to pick up a 2-for-1 move there. Oh no, Prezzo with the switch back on exit, gets the power down nicely. Bags making it side by side through the final corner, and Reshin's able to hold position. So Bags losing 2 positions in the matter of a corner there. That slower tyre just doesn't hold the traction. As we can see, Reshin is also now trying to go around the outside of turn 1 of Prezzo here. They still are side by side through this long right-hander. The Red Bull maintaining the inside line, but that's now going to give Reshin the inside, but Prezzo covers it off through the left-hander. You can see Data still leading from Spicy, leading from Plebs, and then back to Prezzo. Bags quite close to the McLaren here. Is Bags going to go for a move? No, he shows the nose, doesn't go for anything. We also have Slammer moving up a few positions. Looks like Kuma hasn't been able to get in the session again, which is quite unfortunate. Prezzo has, quite clearly as we saw with that overtake, just at the end of lap 2 there. So a couple DRS groups forming here. We obviously got Data and Spicy up first and second. Plevs out of DRS from both angles, in front and behind. He's 1.7 behind Spicy and 2.1 ahead of Prezzo, another Red Bull behind. And then we have a little group here of Reshin, Prezzo and Bags as they once again head down this back straight. We will see a move from Reshin into the hairpin, looking at the 100-meter board through braking marker. We're going to ride on board. He's got DRS open. He's going to go to the inside. Doesn't look to brake as late as the Red Bull. Gets his car alongside. Can't quite maintain momentum through the corner though. And up towards the final corner they'll go to complete lap 3, begin lap 4. Bottoming out a little bit on the curve there again. You can see DRS open. Bags not looking like a threat right now on those mediums. A bit later into the race, it will come to him. He'll get on the faster tyres and he'll be a little bit quicker than these guys ahead. He's just got to work with these guys in front right now. And then the race, as I said, will come to him a little bit later on. Clunky Boy on the hards. Has lost a little bit of time from the guys in front. He's got Lane just behind him on the mediums to keep him company. In the meantime, while the race is slowed down just ever so slightly, I'm going to pull up a... oh, Spice just got in front of Data there. I must have missed that. Not sure where that happened on circuit. It looks like there might have been a mistake there because Plebs has gained a bit of time on these drivers. As we see a spin, that's clean break again. That's his second spin of the race now. Andre's teammate's gone into the pits. He's put on a new front wing and put on the hard compound tyres. So as I said, these tyres, the hards, might be able to get to the end. Not 100% sure. But with Save Spice, you can now break the slipstream and DRS from Data. Jumping back to Reshin, does he go for a move again? You can see him looking to the inside. He does break a little bit later that time. Prezzo able to cover off again. As you see, slowly get past Dan the Racer. Both the Alpines having a little battle. They'll be trying to focus on Lane up ahead there. 4 seconds to try pull. Obviously both on different compound tyres. But what I was going to say before was I will look at the graphic about the position changes. So the top two now unchanged after Spice was able to get ahead of Data. Pleb's gone up 2 positions on those softs. Prezzo is able to maintain position as it looks like Bags and Reshin are going side by side. Coming into a heavy braking zone here. Reshin on the inside. On the soft compounder tyre, should be able to get a better exit here. Unable to do so though. Bags making up another position, one that he lost only a couple laps ago. So good to see a little battle pack still forming here. They're going to be careful not to let Prezzo go though. So Bags down 2 positions after being on those mediums. Reshin maintaining his Clunky Boy, still in P7 on those hards, so he's done well to maintain that. Lane's up a spot. Slammer and Dan both up 5 and 6 positions currently respectively. So good start from both the Alpines. We'll see how many more they can make as the race continues. Kumar's lost a spot, but it is his AI as we know. We have Old Man, we have another spin. That looks like clean braking. This time he's got wing damage, so that's his 3rd spin of the race. You don't usually get away with 3 spins without getting at least a little bit of wind damage, unfortunately. So we'll probably see that car into the pits, off the soft compounder tyres and put it on a new set of either mediums or hards and change that front wing. But back up to the front again. We have another car. I think that peeled off into the pits. No, looks like it, but following closely. These guys are now pulling away from Plebs. Plebs 2.5 seconds back currently. I think we'll follow this battle pack for P4 right now. They look like they're the most aggressive in the field currently. As I said, Bags obviously on this medium compounder tyre. He will be a little bit slower right now, still on lap 6. But as we get towards the end of this stint, especially towards the end of the soft tyre stint, Bags tyres will come to him a little bit more. He's just got to try and look to either follow these guys or try making inroads on Plebs if possible. As we get a good aerial shot, this really allows you to see the different lines the drivers take. Obviously all hitting that apex there, but definitely through the long sweeping right-hander corner such as this, you can see a couple of different lines. I think Reshin was a little bit offline there compared to Bags and Prezzo. But Bags is quite close now. Got a good onboard shot. He's going to open DRS. Down the back straight looks like quite an easy overtake for Bags here. He pulls back in front to get the move done. So Bags moves himself up in P4. I outbrakes himself a little bit actually. That gives Prezzo a little opportunity to fight back, but Prezzo doesn't want to do anything with it. He's happy to sit behind. Looks like Bags might have a little bit more pace now, but that's another mistake and already a 3-second penalty, only on lap 7 of this race so far. As it looks like Prezzo, put in a bit of pressure on, pulled out the move just at the last minute there, didn't want to go for it. Take away the position change now and put back the tyres so that everybody can see. what tyres these drivers are on. So I think it's quite important currently. It is only lap 7, but to look at the gap between Bags and Plebs to see if that gap reduces from 4.5 seconds right now. That'll kind of give us an indicator whether or not the medium or soft tyre is still quicker. But Bags driving quite well. He's on the mediums, the 2 behind him on softs, and he's managing to lead this little battle pack right now. Through the double left-hander they go, and in towards sector 3. Onto the back straight, so Prezzo has dropped off a little bit this lap. He's now 8 tenths off Bags. He'll still have DRS, still within that 1 second, but he doesn't look like he'll be able to get an overtake done quite far back. A car that is a little bit closer though, that we haven't seen too much of, is Albert, and still he's still in the Alfa Romeo here. He's 7 tenths back. Looks like the Aston Martin there's running a little bit lower winds. Can pull away on the straight from still a little bit, even with DRS. Two Alpines have now also separated, as we see Dan the race running a little bit wide, and same with Aston Martin just behind a Velmate. Again, a lot of different tyre compounds here, and I Love Controls spun out the long right-hander, so wasn't able to get the power down quite late enough, got it down too early, and actually spun as a result of that. The car slid away from him by the looks of things, so he's a little bit behind, but all he needs is a safety car to bring his race back in. Still a lot of laps left in this race. Spicy's still leading from Dada, hasn't been able to shake him off yet. Pleb's dropping a little bit of time from the guys in front, and Bags, as we mentioned, we looked at the 4.5 second interval, has now dropped to 4 seconds. So Bags pulling in towards Plebs a little bit here. Rezo's still 8 tenths behind Resh, another 8 tenths behind that, so they're all still within DRS of each other. Lane looks quite close there in the Williams to Clunky Boy. Is he going to go for a move on this straight? Lane on the mediums, so he should be on the faster compound tyre. He's going to come around the final corner now, opening DRS now. You see the little flaps open at the back of the car. He's 5 tenths behind. I don't think he'll get this move done on this lap. He'll have to set it up a little bit better for the next lap potentially. But Clunky Boy driving well on those hard compounded tyres right now. No other moves on the field yet. Oh, he has. You see Prezzo into the pits on the end of lap 9. On the end of lap 8, sorry, starting lap 9. So we'll see what tyre the Red Bull mechanics put on here. Looks like it's going to be the medium tyre. So this could be a 2-stop race for Prezzo here. Strategy really comes into the frame when it's a 100% race. Multiple strategies that can be implemented for a lot of these drivers. So I think Prezzo might be onto these mediums and finish the race on a set of softs, as we see clean brake spin yet again. So I think he's really got his setup wrong for this race. That's 4 spins now in 9 laps, making it difficult for himself. Spicy's starting to play out that gap ever so slightly, now bridging towards 8 tenths of a second over Dada. That that pit stop from Prezzo really separates that DRS chain we just saw. So Bags is now safe from behind, as Reshin's now 2 seconds behind. Prezzo was kind of keeping that train together in the middle there, so these guys would just be relying on lap times now in order to get a little bit closer. There's no DRS effect in their performance now. So we watch Lane again. He's still 5 tenths back, hasn't really made any differences compared to last lap that we just saw. Back towards the 2 Alpines, they're back within DRS of each other, so it looks like those mediums are getting a bit quicker over the soft compounded tyre. Up to the final corner, and Slimmer does jump in the pits at the end of lap 9 for him. So a couple cars going in pits now. I think we'll probably see the mediums jump onto this Alpine, a similar strategy to what we saw from Prezzo. Into this pit box, what tyres? They are the medium tyres, so similar, basically the same strategy to what Prezzo will be doing, I think, from the second of the Alpines as they currently sit out of pit lane, and he will just come out ahead of New Zealand Andre here, I believe. There you can see the Alpine of Slammer just ahead there. Slammer's going to be on cold tyres, so we could see an overtake here from Andre. Heading out of this corner, Slammer's tyres, as I said, will still be cold. It's going to give Andre the best chance to overtake if he wants to, especially coming into a hairpin now underneath the yellow THL board. They go, and Prezzo's spun through the middle sector, so Prezzo's tyres still probably not up to temperature, not as much grip as the softs. He's made a mistake. That's going to cost some time in comparison to Reshin and Bags, who he was currently battling. But we'll jump back quickly to Slammer. Slammer looks like he's held position well from Andre. Slammer on those mediums now as well, and fresher mediums should be able to pull away. As we see, Plebs now jumping into the pits in P3. He's going to try and get an undercut on the guys ahead. Doesn't speed in pit lane, that's important. Reshin behind is also into the pits. Both in their pit limiter on well. I think we'll see mediums again from these drivers. Mediums for the Alfa Romeo, mediums for the McLaren driver. Rest of the field followed through for another lap. So only drivers left on the soft tyres who haven't made a pit stop are the top two, that being Spicy and Data. Only half a second still separating those two, but we will be expecting a pit stop soon from them. I can guarantee, as Plebs just comes out ahead of his teammate Steely on the cold tyres. New Zealand, Andre making a spin now on the hards. That's going to cost him some time. We saw him just behind Prezzo before. A Slammer, sorry, I believe it was. So he's lost a bit of time now to the Alpine car. But we'll follow these leading two to see if they make any pit stops for now. Data's doing well to follow Spicy. Spicy's doing well to hold off Data. Who will pit out of these two? Do they go around for another lap? Do they both pit? We see Spicy go around and watch Data coming into the pits. Quite obviously you can see the cars fly into that final corner. Again, no speed in pit lane, which is good, and he's on some mediums now. So a lot of cars seeming to go for a soft, so either medium strategy to the end of the race, or a soft, medium, soft. I think would be with the ideal strategies that we may see. So Spice will now be pushing on this final lap to ensure that he's going to come out ahead of Data. And Data has lost a couple of positions there due to a couple of drivers not yet pitting, such as Lane, Clanky Boy, and Bags. Plebs getting past old mate into turn one there. We didn't quite catch that, we caught the end of it, but it looks like it was down the inside. Quite an easy overtake, I think, with DRS assistance. Plebs will now look to pull away from this Aston Martin as quickly as possible. They'll also give his teammate Steely the best chance to overtake. But we can see Plebs coming up to the back of down the race now as well, who still hasn't pitted yet, I may add. You can see the cars following in a snake formation, just a little bit widened through there, all taking the same lines. Plebs using a bit of that exit curb in comparison to other drivers, and he's now within DRS of Dan the Racer. We'll see if he can make a move down this back straight. As we see now, Spicy's gone into the pits. We'll keep an eye on where Data is in comparison to Spicy coming out of the pits. Plebs goes inside into the hairpin penultimate corner of the circuit, gets the move done, able to move back in front of the Alpine. As Bags now is our race leader. We'll see Spicy coming out of the pits. We'll follow watch Data as he comes down this straight. We'll see Spicy on the inside of the circuit just about now. Looks like a slight undercut from Data. Spicy's going to be on cold tyres. Is Data going to be able to make an overtake? Oh, they do make a bit of contact through turn 1. Data's basically pushing the Red Bull along. Data trying to get a better exit here than the Red Bull. Going to bridge alongside him now, use a little bit of battery. Still just behind him, he's going to look towards the inside of the circuit here. Braking at the 100 meter board. Side by side, the corner kind of tightens up on exit there. You can see the side by side, Spicy with the better position on the inside of this long left-hander. If Data can stick it though, he's going to get the inside of his long right-hander. He's able to get the move done, and Spicy's actually spun. We didn't quite catch that either, but quite clearly it would have been the cold tyres and such a fast part of the circuit. He's got to rejoin now, Old Bait has to avoid any contact there, so Spicy's lost a lot of time with that spin. As I was saying, tyres probably just not up to working temperature just yet. And due to being such a high speed section of the circuit, they just gave way. It's a bit like driving on ice, a lot of the drivers say. So Spicy now provisionally in P3. He's got Plebs in front of him, and then obviously the driver who's battling Data now with no pressure in provisional race lead. He's catching a few of the drivers in front now who still haven't made pit stops yet. So the order is a little bit jumbled right now, but that will set itself back out soon once these guys make a pit stop. But you can expect Clunky Boy going long into the race on those hards. Same with Bags and Lane going quite long into the race. However, we are expecting a pit stop from them a bit sooner than what the hard tyre is. Lane looking quite happy to follow the AlphaTauri. He hasn't really put towards a threat as of yet. Just comfortable sitting in that DRS. But he's going to have Data now coming up behind him, and that may change his perception of that as we see Spicy onto the back of Dan the race. We saw Plebs just make an overtake a couple laps ago on the back DRS straight. You can see there Alfa Romeo up the top there. As we got, I think that was Andre spinning again towards the back of the field. And the races missed his apex a little bit there. Spicy's quite close. I think he'll wait for DRS to make this overtake. Basically pushing the Alpine through the corner. And just before we look at that, I think that's going to be an easy move for Spicy. We're going to move up to watch Data. He's going to get past Lane quite easy. Use a bit of DRS to get through as well. ARS, sorry. Opening DRS now. Is he going to get a move done on Clunky Boy before this hairpin? No. Shapes towards the inside, doesn't get it done. Lane sits behind for now. So I think we can probably expect an overtake. Oh, I was going to say turn 1, but it's going to be a bit sooner than that. It's going to be into the final corner. So quite an easy overtake there for Data on the fresher tyres and on the mediums. He also sets fastest lap, proving that pace. So Spicy, as we assumed, got past down the race on that straight as well. And it looks like Steely might be able to make inroads on Old Mate just in front here. Old Mate trying to break the slipstream towards the outside of the circuit. Steely's going to go towards the inside, head through turn 1, and he's going to get the position done into P8. Switchback though, maybe for Old Mate. Move the car to the centre of the track. No, doesn't get it. Defense from Reshin as well. So Reshin will be looking to get past these guys. He's on fresh medium tyres in comparison to the guys ahead. You can see he's on the battery. He's going to make a move. He's going to be careful not to hit the Alfa Romeo in front of him. They both do well. Both pull the car up nice, and he makes a move on Old Mate there. So Reshin will now be setting up for the DRS straight at the start of Sector 3. Spicy's next target, as I said, is Plebs. After that spin. Although we didn't see it, it was quite clear that the car pretty much did just slide away from him. Wasn't able to do anything about it on those cold tyres. It was gone before he knew it. Lane still within DRS, the Clunky Boy. He's not going to go for a move on this lap. We'll jump back to Reshin as we'll see him pretty much get the move done before the DRS zone. And still he's running quite low wings as well. DRS open, still he doesn't have any. The Alfa Romeo of Old Mate though, sorry, Aston Martin of Old Mate is going to come up quickly on the inside. Is he going to go for a move? No, not quite deep enough. And Reshin makes another position, so he's only just behind Spicy now as well, about 5 seconds back. Oh mate, running a little bit wide there on corner exit. Once again through turn 1, so everybody on the mediums, barring Planky Boy in P3, has driven quite well on the hard so far, no mistakes from him. We got New Zealand Andre making a pit stop early on in the race onto the hards, and also other Mercedes who's now just been overtaken by Clean Break on the other hards. So these guys have a little battle for P15, which is nice to see, still in the race. As I said, safety car comes out, anything can happen. It brings these drivers well and truly back into the race, but everyone's splitting up a little bit now. The only drivers we have within DRS are the ones we're viewing right now for P15 and P16, and also Lane and Clanky Boy, but Lane hasn't looked too aggressive in the early moments of this race. Once again going down DRS straight. Lane is probably a little bit closer than what we've seen so far. Doesn't look like he's going to go for a move though. He catches about a 10th towards the end of that straight, so he's probably running a little bit higher wings than what Clunky Boy is, and therefore he's quicker in the middle sector but not onto the main straight. They're Reshin now Reshin now attacking down the race for a little bit. He's going to go for a move down into turn 1. He's gaining his 1/10 now towards the inside of the circuit. Down the race, so stays on the outside, side by side. Down the race, able to carry more speed on the outer line. And Reshin gets his car ahead of the Alpine, covers it well. Up to P7 now. He's got Spicy next to Target ahead of him. We'll look back up to Lane and Clanky Boy as they're the last cars remain in DRS. It is unfortunate about this circuit that all the twists and high speed corners lead to a lot of dirty air, which leads to making it very hard to follow the cars behind, hence the reason I think everyone's so split up right now. But Lane's done well to stay within that and avoid it, but you can see while there's no DRS, Clanky Boy basically just pulls away from the Williams, and then that gap closes in a little bit. Clanky Boy's sitting on, battery wise, 65%, Lane on 70, so both very similar. That wouldn't really be affecting performance all that much, the difference having battery though, as they go around to complete lap 17. Looking back up the top of the field with Bags, he does have that 3-second penalty, as Old Bait now does as well. Both the Aston Martins gaining 3 seconds through track limits. He's losing quite a bit of time to Data behind. You can see the Mercedes just in the background there. But yeah, Data with those fresher mediums will be obviously pulling in a little bit quicker than what Bags is able to pull away from. While all this has been going on as well, a couple of drivers have been making inroads on others. For instance, Spicy now nearly within a second of Plebs. He might get it this lap, to be honest with you. He's going to use a bit of battery. The gap branching out a second. I don't think he's going to get it. Plebs might get it as well. So we could have a 4-car battle here very shortly. We also got Prezzo, who's caught up to the back. Volbait, you can see falling very close behind. He's going to go for a move. Oh, no, he's not. He'll probably get that done down the DRS straight. We'll just see if any moves are going to get done here. 4 cars within DRS of each other. That's good to see on lap 18 of this race. So head up towards the final corner now. I think next up we may see some overtakes down that straight. Definitely we got 2 different races happening within 4 cars. We got Plebs and Spicy obviously racing each other after making a pit stop. Oh, as we got a spin, sorry, Steely's made a spin out the final corner there. He's the car's facing 180 the wrong way. He's going to reverse and probably flick spin that car back onto the racing line. There you go. Back to this as well, sorry. You got Clunky Boy and, oh sorry, Plebs has already overtaken Lane. That must have been in turn 1. So we got Clunky Boy and Lane racing each other, not having yet pitted, and we got Plebs and Spicy pitted, who are on fresh tyres, who should be able to get past these guys, yeah, on that quicker tyre right now. So I think we'll just ride on board with Spicy. He's going to give us the best camera angle for this little battle pack. Oh, as we see Lane get a bit of a tank slapper, and Lane's just going to let Spicy go, I think. There you go. So Lane happy to let that one go. And I think Spicy's main job here is to try to get past Clunky Boy when Plebs does down this back straight. I wonder if Clunky Boy will try to defend any of these positions. Spicy is quite far back. He's 7 tenths back from Clunky Boy. Plebs should get the overtake done quite easily. I can't say the same for Spicy. Clunky Boy's going to defend it though, I think. Down the inside they go side by side. There's nearly contact on the apex as Clunky Boy looks to cut back on the inside of the circuit. Oh, a little bit of a wobble there from the Spicy coming out that final corner. Is he going to go for a move on Clunky Boy? Not yet, so right now this is going to be Pleb's opportunity to try and pull away from sorry, Spicy gets moved on the inside of turn 1. That was very late, so Clunky Boy must have run a little bit wide, and because Spicy has that better traction and grip, he can just stick it to the inside of the circuit and get that moved on. So well done from Spicy there. He is now back within DRS of Plebs. After that spin we saw when he first jumped onto medium 7 laps ago. Field very spread out now as well. I think it's going to look like Plebs and Spicy in a DRS train, and Clunky Boy's trying to hold on to that DRS. Same with Lane. Lane on the border of that 1 second mark. Just picked out of a second there. The DRS line is right there. I believe he might. I don't think Lane's going to get it. We'll check on the straight. But if he doesn't get it, it's going to cost him a bit of time down the straight, as Clunky Boy will have it on the cars ahead. We'll see here. No DRS, okay. Spicy not looking to go for the move on Plebs just yet. You can see him about 75% throttle down that straight. With 100%, I think he would have been able to pull along the side, but the Alfa Romeo leads another lap ahead of the Red Bull. Plebs not with a lot of battery left though, in comparison to Spicy. 38% versus 13%, so Plebs used a little bit to try and get past those little battle group there. Plebs and Spicy slowly pulling away from Clunky Boy. Clunky Boy got 9 tenths in between himself and the sister car of the Red Bull in front. That gap now pulls to 1.1, so Clunky Boy probably won't have DRS on this next straight, and Lane's also lost DRS behind as well. We'll follow Spicy, see if he's going to make a move on this back straight this lap round. Onto the back straight they go now. You can see the 4 cars separated by only a couple of seconds there. And with a bit of battery, Spicy now attacking Plebs in the Alfa Romeo. They're side by side. Head into the braking zone. Plebs still defending the inside. Jumps over the curb a little bit there. Spicy with the wider exit though is able to get the move done with better traction. We'll see if Plebs is able to stay around the DRS of Spicy, as we see Bags now make a pit stop, his first of the race, onto another set of mediums, so we will see yet another stop later in the race from Bags. That is pretty much assuring the strategy for him to be a medium soft. 22 laps on the mediums, another 22 probably on this set, and finishing the race off on a set of softs. So he's got a few cars to now try to break ahead of. But we can expect the mediums to last probably around 25 laps, I think. We'll be looking towards the end of its tyre life, as we just saw Bags pit on lap 22 there on his tyres. Back up to Plebs and Spicy. We saw a good little battle into the hairpin between these two only a lap ago. Will we see another one? Spicy needs to try and make some time back up on Data ahead of him. He's now 9 seconds behind. That gap was only, well, within a second of each other until that spin. Plebs with Dara should be able to stay within it for a little bit longer. As these guys look to end lap 22 of 56. Still not even at half race distance yet, a long way to go. As I've mentioned, safety car is a thing that can play a crucial role in this race. Prezzo's got past down the racer into the hairpin there. That would have been with Dara's assistance. He moves into P8. He also had a spin on cold tyres, but back up to Spicy and Plebs will follow these guys for a little bit longer, as they are the only ones within Dara of each other. Heading through the middle sector now. Red Bull followed by the Alfa Romeo. Probably does at this stage look like Spicy has the best pace of the field so far. He's made a little bit of ground on Data ahead, about 4 tenths over the last lap. And Plebs is falling off ever so slightly to the Red Bull, 9 tenths the gap right now. Bags is also caught up to Reshin after his pit stop. He'll be looking to make an overtake for P6 of this race. Using some of the battery, he's going to try and make an overtake on the straight. Reshin doesn't look like he's going to try to defend this all too hard. He does move to the inside, but can't do anything to stop the straight line speed of Dustin Martin. So head into the braking zone. Oh, that was close. Reshin nearly run up the gearbox of the Aston Martin there, Bags. That could have been bad. Could have been front wind damage from the car, and he did well to avoid that, but we had a good camera angle for that as Bags now sets the fast lap on lap 23 of 56. Data still controlling the field. He is slowly losing a little bit of time to Spicy. Will be interesting to see if by the end of the race the gap does close, or if Data is able to fight back a little bit on that time he's lost. Plebs quite low on battery. Spicy sitting around 38%. Still got quite a bit to play with. As we've had a spin, I believe that's Isla controlling the second Mercedes. He's not having the best race, and I can say the same for Clean Break as well. Both of them having quite a few spins. Steely might be able to make an overtake here into turn 1 if he's close enough. It looks like Clean Break might get out of the way, to be completely honest, as he does. I'm happy to let the Alfa Romeo go into turn 1, but back up, sorry to these guys. Plebs and Spicy. So I think I might just ride on board with Plebs over the next lap or so. It sounds like he bottoms out a couple of times over the curbs. That might be costing him a little bit of time due to his low ride height. So the low ride height is actually helping his aerodynamic stability through fast, long corners, such as the one we saw Spicy spin at a couple of laps ago now. I'll point it out a little bit better once we get there, but it just means over the thick curbs, like this outside curb we'll see here on the left, he actually bottoms out on if his car goes over it. So through corners such as this long left-hander here, it actually helps stabilize the car and add more grip to it by having lower ride height, but it means, yeah, through these higher curbs such as the inside one there or the outside one here, it can bottom it out. Ooh, there's a little snap of oversteer there. We got another pit stop, old mates in for the hard compound tyre. So those hards I'd expect to go to the end, and we see another spin from Spicy. We saw that clear as day in front of us there. That's really going to affect his race now. He's got all that hard work he just did, he's now gone again, and now he's going to be under threat from cars behind, such as Clunky Boy. He's using good battery, trying to avoid getting overtaken, but that was a poor spin from the Red Bull driver. He's quite have DRS. Clunky Boy looking at the rear wing, he does have it. Bags won't be able to make a move on this straight. Saving a little bit of fuel there as well through lifting quite early before that braking board, or braking zone. Around turn 1 bags, there's a little bit of time. I think this lap we'd expect Spicy to pull out of the DRS from Clunky Boy, and we'd probably be expecting a pit stop very shortly from the likes of Clunky Boy and Lane. Been on those tires for 26 laps as we see Dan the Racer pit. He's on 26 lap old mediums as well, so he's into pits, he's on the hard, so a one-stop strategy for the Alpine driver. He won't be making another pit stop provided there's no spins or incidents for his race. So about half race distance now, doing half on the mediums, half on the hards, splintered right down the centre effectively. Reshin, he's on the back of the lane, every now in DRS. Bags, he's obviously very close to Clunky Boy, basically pushing him through this long right hander, the sweeper. Going to try draw alongside. Clunky Boy moves inside of the track. Clunky Boy using DRS, so they're both on ERS. Bags is going to have DRS, they're very similar in straight line speed. Who's going to be last to late breakers? It looks like Bags is. He's able to break a little bit deeper on the outside and he gets the overtake done into position 4 now. So do we see... Oh, you see another spin, that's from one of Ferrari's. Lane goes around for another lap. He's not pitting yet. I think we might, depending how long Lane's able to pull these tyres, I think we can definitely assume he's on a one-stop at a minimum. I think he'll probably put on the hard compound tyre or maybe this lap, and we've seen a spin from Reshin there. I think we've caught pretty much nearly every spin towards the top of the field here. Reshin, the car slid completely away from him there, and he's done well not to hit the wall. No cars behind him coming on track, which is good to see, but yeah, the car just again slid out, sort of like Spices did in the other sweeping corner at a low speed, just getting back on the throttle, and yeah, they slid out from underneath him. So he's lost a lot of time with that spin as well. He was on the very back of Lane. He's now 13 seconds behind Lane. Make it difficult to make another overtake, being 9 seconds behind the car ahead of Prezzo. Bags, so he's pulled away from Darius and Clanky Boy. He's got better tyres than Spicy, and he's caught up to Spicy ever so slightly. Everyone currently out of DRS from one another at half race distance. You see a pit stop from Clean Break. He's chucked on a new set of mediums. I'd expect those to reach the end of the race now. Another spin, that's the Ferrari. It's Clean Break. He's just come out of the pits on the mediums, and that's a double spin. We'll leave him to try and fix that up. Mosh started driving quite well. He's maintained the gap to Plebs, pulled it away a little bit as well, in saying that. Plebs hasn't necessarily had the best pace here, I don't think. However, through consistency, he's maintaining P2. We've seen Spicy. I think Spicy's probably quickest on track, but he's making a few mistakes, costing him a lot of time. He'd rather be maybe 2 or 3 tenths slower a lap, but be more consistent. Bags trying to put on a little bit of pressure on the Red Bull ahead of him. Let's see if maybe we get a pit stop now from Clanky Boy. No. What about Lane? Oh, Lane has made a pit stop. Sorry, must have missed that one as well. Lane onto the hard compound tyre. We did predict a 1 stop for him. So he's done more laps on the mediums than he will on the hards, which is quite interesting to see. He'll do 26 laps on the hards. He did about 28 on the mediums. Yeah, Lane with a 1 stop strategy. His Clean Break has finally called it a day. He's into the pits. He's retired in the pits, pulled it back into the garage. There won't be a safety car or virtual safety car in that matter for that. The race will continue on, and Clean Break is now out of the race. As we see, Slammer now into the pits. He was on 20 lap old mediums, and he will be putting on another set of mediums. These will probably go to the end as well now. He did start on the soft compound tyre, if I remember correctly, so he's already made his 2 tyre compound strategy of the soft and medium tyre. These will go, as I said, to the end of the race now. Clanky Boy, I think we'll expect a pit stop from him shortly, considering that medium tyres will be quicker, and they can reach the end from this spot of the race right now as well. Goes down for another lap yet, and he's run quite wide there. Is that going to be a warning or a penalty? No. Not quite. But in the meantime, Bags has now reached the rest of Spicy, so Spicy's tyres starting to fall away a little bit. Because of that, Bags and Aston's able to catch up, but Plebs. I thought he was on the back of Watch Data there. It wasn't. He's on the back of the other lapped Mercedes of I Love Controller. Good aerial shot. Thankfully Ghosting's the thing, but I Love Controller should be getting out of the way here with blue flags. He shouldn't be holding up the Alfa Romeo of Plebs. He goes straight through him and gets ahead of the Mercedes. Bags dropped off the Red Bull, unfortunately. We did see him with the DRS, but he's had a bit of a slow lap. Hasn't been able to stay in it. Sorry. These two are the closest on the track as we speak. As they now approach lap 32 of 56, we are now past half race distance, as I said. The race has definitely spread out a little bit, unfortunately. Cars and drivers definitely showing their pace differences and strategy differences. Okay, back onto the back straight. Bags now well and truly within DRS. Good to see. We might see a little battle between these two drivers, hopefully. Add some spice back into the race a bit, maybe even a crash. We don't like seeing drivers crash often, but it means the safety car sometimes for a spectator. It's good to see. Bags definitely getting a lot closer. He's going to go for a move into turn 1. He's quite close. He used a bit of battery. I think he probably could have put alongside, but he's not going to. He's going to follow. Oh, he's gone a little bit deep there actually. He's taken a very different line. You can see Bags is lifting off quite a bit for the corners. I might put emphasis on that a little bit because a lot of these drivers do underfuel. You can see at the top right of Bags' steering wheel. I mean, I can anyway. I'm not sure if you can as from a spectating point of view. But Bags is 0.6 laps underfueled the car, which means currently if next lap was the final lap of the race, he would not be able to finish the race. His car would run out of fuel. So he's trying to save a bit of that. We'll see into his braking zone. Rolls into it, then onto the brakes. That's saving a little bit of fuel each time he does that. And because we have this back marker here, Spice is going to get DRS in this straight. Which means that Bags won't be able to make an overtake. And you'll see again Bags roll into this corner. There you go, about 200 metres out he's rolling into the corner, and 100 metres he's slamming onto the brakes in order to save that fuel. So smart thinking there from the Aston Martin driver. It is a strategy that some drivers employ, as they're able to have a lighter car with less fuel, meaning a faster car with less fuel. Clunky Boy's still out on his tyres. They're now 33 laps old. He might even be trying to pull these out to the soft compound, which would be quite interesting. You can see a lot of grading on the right front tyre. You can see a little line there on the very outside of it. That's pretty much where the tyre hasn't been used. The tyre gets used a lot on the inside with the camber of these Formula 1 cars. The outside of the tyre hasn't been used all that much, based off the camber that this car is on. China is also quite a high degradation circuit with the long corners you see, even the ones we just saw then Clunky Boy go through, but these ones as well, and definitely this long right coming up, because they're so high speed the tyres grade a lot over them, meaning that they're not able to last quite as long as what they are at other circuits on the calendar. But Bags back within DRS, into the braking zone they go, half a second in it, no overtake just yet. Plebs is in now for his second stop of the race. First driver for his second stop of that leading train. He's going to go for a little bit of undercut by the looks of things on either Spicy or Bags or Data. Another set of mediums to slot onto that car. These tyres will go to the end. Does he come out in front of Clunky Boy? Probably not. He will have a bit of traffic to deal with, I think. So Red Bull just sweeps past and nearly contact between the two. It's a pretty bad pit exit here at China. It spits you out right onto the apex of turn 1 where Prezzo was quite clearly aiming for, but no one admits that fault there, just the track design. But yeah, Plebs will be going to the end of the race now on these fresh mediums. He'll also be the quickest driver on track now with those fresh mediums. So Bags still sitting within that DRS range. Oh, as Spicy's made another mistake. This time it's much worse than previous ones. He's off into the gravel, he manages to catch the car just. But that's going to be costly. He's got 10 seconds for exceeding track limits. That is ridiculous. To be completely honest with you, 10 seconds for making a mistake on the circuit, going wide to catch the car, and then rejoining the circuit in what was pretty safe manner. 10 seconds is quite ridiculous. But yeah, that's the third time we've seen Spicy's car have a mistake, or at least a major mistake. That setup just not working for him. He's on 23 lap old mediums, so those tyres could probably account for a little bit of mistakes. But I think it might be time to chuck a new set of tyres on, to be quite honest. I don't think those ones are doing him any good anymore. As Plebs gets past Clunky Boy now, he got past Prezzo as well. But Reshin's pitted now, he'll be going on to mediums, I believe, for the end of the race. 20 laps remaining now in this Chinese Grand Prix. Prezzo looking to get past Clunky Boy in front. Clunky Boy's still out on the tyres he started on, as Prezzo puts a little bit of pressure there, makes a mistake, does Clunky Boy, and through the Red Bull goes, on quite similar age tyres, only 8 laps difference. Gets the job done. We'll be expecting a pit stop, I think, shortly from Data. Depends if he wants to go onto medium tyres again, or if he wants to wait probably another 5 or 6 laps and put on the softs to the end of the race. But he's controlled the race well. He hasn't looked under threat at all. He was happy to give up P1 a little bit at the start of the race and drop into P2 following Spicy. And then a little bit of pressure onto the Red Bull car helped it spin, and ever since then really he's been in control of this race. Now 13 seconds ahead of the next car behind him, driving very efficiently indeed, as Plebs now set him fastest up the race. Quite clearly, as I said, those tyres are going to be the fastest on track. He also is a pretty representable driver. So he'll be making inroads on Spicy, who is yet to pit, and Bags, who is potentially yet to pit. That's going to be an interesting discussion come towards the end of the race, whether or not those tyres can make it to the end. That would be 30 laps old if they can make it, which Prezos nearly are, so we can see medium tyres already, which are nearly at the end of their life cycle, or if Bags wants to pit onto a fresh set of soft compound tyres. I think anyone who is still out on track currently on these old tyres is looking to go into the softs, to be honest. Yeah, it's not worth going on a half medium stint. You might as well wait for a full soft stint. Probably around lap 40, I think we'll see a couple pit stops for the softs, maybe even just after lap 40. There you go, we got Data coming in. I think he'll probably be putting on the mediums actually from here. He is. So 26 laps on the first set of mediums. He'll be doing, what's that, about 18, 19 laps on his second set. So not making it an even stint. He wants these ones to last a little bit longer, be a little bit quicker. But that is now going to drop him down to provisional P3 as Spicy and Bags get past him. And the driver he'll be racing currently for position on track is Plevs behind him. He's only 4.6 seconds, so Plevs actually had a pretty good stint there. Made up a lot of ground on the driver ahead. He'll make a little bit more as well as Data needs to warm up his tyres. We also have Clunky Boy finally in the pits now after 38 laps. He's put on a new set of tyres. He's gone into the mediums, so he doesn't want the soft compounded tyres. Quite happy to start putting laps in with the mediums. Couldn't wait a couple more laps. It'll be interesting to see if Data gets stuck behind Spicy, can't make an overtake. It'll be interesting to see if Plebs manages to close this gap and we get a battle towards the end of the race between these two drivers. They'll make things a little bit interesting. The gap has dropped to 3.7 seconds. As we saw before, it was about 9 seconds. So good to see that the gap is closing from a spectator point of view. Any of these top drivers going in Bags, obviously going around for another lap. He's not due yet. Spicy, 25 laps on those mediums, could nearly be due. I think he's waiting for the soft compounded tyre. And Data obviously on fresh mediums, he goes around. But looking to finish the race in that set. 17 laps remain ahead of us for this Chinese Grand Prix. Started out quite interesting, but with a couple of mistakes from some of these drivers, the gap has spread out quite a lot now. We got old mate and New Zealand Andre close together. New Zealand Andre still due for another pit stop yet. He's got one more to do. Those 35 lap old hards on that Ferrari won't make it to the end of the race. No way. And now we can see Data has caught up to Spicy already. Data's already pulled away. A second and a half from Plebs behind him. He's gone purple in the middle sector. Is he going to try and make a move here on the Red Bull in front of him? I think he is. They're both using their battery. Spicy knows that Data wants his position. Data's still on his battery. Using DRS now too. He's going to approach at a much higher speed than what Spicy is, about 15 kilometers quicker. Down the inside into the hairpin. Broke quite late there. Spicy with the switch back. He's able to get the move done. So Spicy's not going to give his position up easily, although the tyres do have a 25 lap difference in them. Spicy wants to hold this, but now Data with DRS, battery and slipstream gets overtake done and gets fastest lap with it as well. He moves up into provisional P2. through the middle sector now. You can see Dada has nearly already pulled away second as Lane gets past Prezzo. Prezzo's made his pit stop now. He's on mediums again. Probably could have maybe got the softs towards the end there, I think. Oh, there's nearly contact again on that pit exit. That's twice with Prezzo that he's had to deal with a dodgy pit exit on this Shanghai circuit. Not too much is going on right now. Old mate's still following quite closely to New Zealand Andre, and also I think that's a back marker actually of Bags, just overtaken Steely there as well. So P13 now being lapped by the race leader. We'll head back to this little battle of Old Mate and Andre. Pulling away a little bit from Old Mate on his old tyres. One little battle pack that will be interesting to see come towards the end of this race is Prezzo and Reshin, and then Reshin and Clunky Boy as well. All these drivers on similar age tyres, all within a very similar gap, only 3 seconds separating these guys. So these guys have been quite close throughout the race. They've all had different strategies as well, which is great to see how strategies can actually change the outcome of the race. You might not be the quickest driver, but if you have a good strategy behind you, you can actually make it work. 100% race obviously does offer a lot more varieties, which is good to see. But yeah, these drivers all quite close. Coming towards the end of the race now, we'll see if there's a battle that starts to spice up towards the end. And Lane as well, sorry, Lane's in this as well. So it could be a 4-car battle come towards the end of this race. You can see in the bottom right hand side of your map now, that little group of cars at the very, very bottom right as they exit this circle. Interesting to see, we saw Lane following Clunky Boy for a long time in this race, and now it's going to be roles reversed. As I said, based off strategy, things change. At beginning lap 42 of 56, now there are 15 laps remaining, including the final lap, obviously. These guys now nearly all within zeros. Clean Breaks now left the session after retiring his car in pit lane. One thing we'll also notice, Dada has caught up to the back of Bags. Dada on those 4-lap old mediums in comparison to Bags on his 20-lap old mediums. You'd expect that. Just the pace difference in tyre, really. It's not on anyone else's driving style, really. It's just the pace difference on those sides. So Dada following very closely to Bags, and he pulled it inside with DRS. I think this position will be done before the braking zone. Bags not putting too much defense on that position. Back down we go to this little battle pack. Clunky Boy all over the back of Lane Everingham here. Lane on those 13-lap old hards. He's on the older tyre and the slower tyre compared to Clunky Boy, which isn't going to help his case in being able to hold that P5. So come out of the sweeper onto the large DRS zone here. Clunky Boy already pulls Lon's side. Lane not using any battery. I think he's happy to let this one go. He'll try to follow Clunky Boy if possible. And he'll be able to use Clunky Boy as a defense mechanism as well, from Reshin and Prezzo behind him. Running maybe a little bit over the limits there was Lane. See the car on the edge of the track. So all of these 4 cars within DRS, great to see. The race is starting to spice back up towards the end of here. Another little battle that's starting to spice back up is Plebs after his pit stop. Now he's able to catch back up to the back of Spicy. Spice will be under threat down this back straight. I don't think he's going to be able to defend this position here. DRS and slipstream. Spicy's using a lot of battery though. He did want to hold it a little bit. Doesn't shift to the inside of the track, leaves it for the Alfa Romeo to gather side by side in braking zone, and Plebs takes position. Lane's left the session, which is quite unfortunate considering he's in that big battle pack. It was quite important for him actually to stay within that battle pack and within DRS. Now his AI is going quite slow and he's spooked by the other cars. Hopefully he can get back into the session quickly and not lose any more positions. I don't think he will, but it's more that he might be able to overtake cars, which his AI is just done, unless that's Prezzo's let that position go again. So Spicy, not sure what his game plan is here. I think he's going to have to pit again at least. And put on, I think, the soft compound tyre, as we mentioned 12 laps ago, be pretty close to that tyre zone now. We've got Reshin and Clunky Boy. This could be a good battle spicing up towards the end. Same with Prezzo. Prezzo did lose a lot of time though, battling with Lane, who Lane's AI really wants to give Prezzo a bit of a run for his money here. It's interesting to see. But it is quite unfortunate for Lane. He's back now, but he has driven quite a comfortable race so far. Hasn't made any mistakes as far as I've seen. Had a good strategy call and then that happens to him. Andre, the first driver to pick back onto the soft compounder tyre. He'll be finishing the race on that set. Not many laps obviously to go now. I think we will see Bags probably make it to the end on his tyre. I don't think we will see Spicy make it to the end of his tyre. He goes around again though, yet for another lap. Clunky Boy and Reshin in DRS of each other. Prezzo 2 seconds back. Lane another 2 seconds back. Yet still to get in his car. So this battle for P5 definitely will be quite interesting to see. Still 11 laps to go. What will Reshin do? What will Clunky Boy do? Does Reshin want to stay within that DRS and just go for the last lap, or does he want to try get in front and pull away while he can? Again, like tyre strategies, there's also I guess battle strategies you can implement where you know, do you want to overtake straight away? Do you want to wait? I guess a lot of things with racing is that you don't actually do the I guess make the overtake when you want to. You got to set it up very far beforehand. For instance, Reshin, if he wanted to overtake on the back straight this lap, he'd already be setting it up from here, making sure he gets a good lap in, no mistakes, and he's close enough to get a move done on that back straight. But sometimes you're happy not to. You don't need to think that hard about it. But yeah, definitely got to think a lot of stages ahead of what you actually do when you're racing. It is what separates a good driver from a great driver. Bagsadell has gone into pits. I thought he might have been able to make it to the end on those mediums, which I think probably would have been the quickest strategy. Spicy's followed it in. But they'll both be putting on the soft compound tyre. They're not going to lose any positions. Going to be battling for the final podium position, these two, I believe. But that really separates the top two now. 8 seconds in it. It's going to take a lot for Plebs to get that Mercedes, but probably about a second a lap. But it looks like Data's been pulling away from Plebs, so Data been driving tremendously this race. Back to Reshin and Clunky Boy. Follow these guys for a little bit, considering they are obviously within a battle here with each other. think if a lot of these corners at China were similar to the one that they just went through, that sharp right-hander, and similar to the penultimate corner, the very sharp right-hander as well, the race can be a little bit closer. It's just those long corners, as I said earlier, with dirty air, do separate the field quite a bit, makes it difficult to follow, and therefore difficult to overtake, really. We did see an interesting race here in 2018 in real life. Daniel Ricciardo winning, obviously. He made a lot of overtakes, but with a good strategy call from his Red Bull team as well. And speaking of strategy calls, obviously in 2019 we saw the iconic pretty much double stack from Mercedes, where they were able to bring in Lewis Hamilton and then Valtteri Bottas, pretty much right next to each other and not lose any time from it. In fact, Valtteri Bottas actually had a quicker pit stop than Lewis Hamilton, showing that they really mastered that tactic. Yeah, so a couple real life facts there, I guess. China was also the 1000th F1 race we had back in 2019 as well, so yeah, it has held a couple of iconic moments, but yeah, it has been on the calendar for a while as well and held maybe not so iconic moments as well. But back to this racing as well, as Reshin was very close through turn 1 and 2 there, we saw the gap spread out a little bit now. Back into the sweeper here, you'll see the DRS detection line is a white line across the track now. You saw it back there. So Reshin definitely within a second as they crossed over that. He's going to use a bit of DRS now. I think Reshin wants to get this overtake done. They're both on very similar ERS, both under 10%. As you can see the red light flashing on Clanky Boy up ahead there. Bagside sitting past the start of the race now on those soft compound tyres and followed by Spicer very quickly. Looks like Reshin might try and get an overtake done on this pit straight. DRS assistance, there's a car coming out of the pits as well, that's not going to affect anything. Around the outside goes Reshin, still hanging around the outside. It's going to give him to the inside of the next corner if he's able to maintain it. Clunky Boy covers off the position though with that inside line, so we saw a little bit of battling there between the two. Reshin just not able to get the overtake done. He looks for a dive bomb, a little bit too far back. Tyre life is quite similar between these two as well, so that shouldn't come into effect all that much. It looks like Clunky Boy is actually running a little bit less swing than what Reshin is, helping him maintain the spot, maintain his position on the long straights. But then again, that's helping Reshin stay a lot closer than what Clunky Boy would be able to through the corners. We see Clunky Boy have a little moment there as well, and same with Reshin, his car slides away a little bit. The back straight we go, both their lights flashing again. Reshin on his battery. Here he goes towards the end of the straight. Is he going to be able to make a move? He's got a much more over top speed than the AlphaTauri. They go side by side into the hairpin. Reshin nearly contact between them, and Reshin's able to get the move done. So good move there from the McLaren. Now he's got to try to pull away from the AlphaTauri, but I think Clunky Boy might come back at him here down this pit straight. As he looks to the inside, he's going to have the inside in turn 1. Reshin on the outside again, like last lap. Oh, lovely switchback from the McLaren driver. That's about as good as you'll see. Overtake the race, definitely. I'm glad I caught the last onboard bit of that move. That's great racecraft there from the McLaren driver, Reshin. But now Clunky Boy fighting again on the inside here. Great battle between these two. Holding the outside between Reshin. They cuts the track a lot there, Clunky Boy, trying to give space to his rival. Clunky Boy back in front, but that switch back from Reshin was truly something. He let the position go on the inside and quickly darted back down the inside of Clunky Boy again. So it's yeah, great racecraft there. Overtake of the race for sure in my books. I think I'll get rid of this tyre graphic now. I don't think we need it anymore. If we get position changes up. See there, Plebs had a pretty good race. Our biggest loser overall has been New Zealand Andre, going down 4 spots in the Ferrari out in P12. But Spicy also had a poor race, and Reshin has now spun, as I've just praised him only half a lap ago. He's now made a massive mistake. And that's going to put... Oh, that was a dangerous rejoin. Lane now jumps back in front. He's had another spin on the dirty tyres. After such what looked like a good little battle there between the two. Reshin loses 3 positions in all of that. Back down to P8 for the McLaren driver. I think that's probably where he'll finish. He'll be pretty upset with that one, I think. He's driving quite well, having a good battle. Yeah, I think P8 looks like that's really the best he gets. He's now down 2 positions from race start as well. But yeah, Spicy having very similar mistakes. A lot of spins for him. It's cost him a podium position on this race. Definitely, Clunky Boy's had a consistent race. The first of the 1-stop strategy. Prezzo had a 2-stop. He's in 6th. Lane's had a 1-stop. He's in 7th. So the strategies are differing quite a bit. But differing quite a bit. But yeah, obviously positions can change because of that. So watch data. We're now start lap 51 of 56. There are 5 laps remaining, including the final lap now. It has felt like probably what I'd say quite a long race. We did have a bit of battling there, which was great to see. I'd like to see more of that throughout the race, but yeah, China just not the best track for that, I don't think. But all the drivers now separated by over 1 second, meaning that there will be no overtakes, as far as I can see. So we'll follow maybe a lap or 2 from data on board here to see how consistent he is, as he does make a little mistake. Hopefully I don't commentate his curse and then he doesn't crash, but mate, so far he's been flawless, I think. That's been pretty obvious. He had a good qualifying, just missed out on pole, but in the race he's really shined. So I'll take the graphics off ever so slightly. We can admire next up, I think, like 52 for data. We'll follow that on board, and yeah, give him a bit of screen time, because you got to appreciate some good racing, and he's driven well here today. Keep the track light on just in case we do see an incident. I can flick to it, but we're right on board. You can enjoy this lap. See there, I think that shows, barring his little mistake there, how consistent he is. And we did see a bit of a battle there from Slammer and Andre in front. We didn't miss that by any means. I thought we'd stay on board there because we could still see the battle. But yeah, watch data. Other than that little mistake, I think one-off mistake that we just saw. Slam's actually disconnected, that's why. But other than that little mistake we saw, just how consistent he's driving, really. Not many corrections on his steering wheel. You know, he'll turn in with one movement and exit with another. He's not having to readjust the steering wheel all that often. As we see a spin, it's for I Love Controller down in 15th. But yeah, you can see the stops at the top left of the screen there on the totem board. You got Clunky Boy first at the one stops, you got Lane who's done a one stop, you got Dan the Race who's done a one stop, and Old Mate who's done a one stop as well. Everybody else with two stop and Slammer now gets a 3-second time. Only 3 laps to go from the end of this race. Unfortunately, I think that might have been his AI that somehow got that as well, so not going to question that. I don't know how he's done that, but we'll keep that up, get the tyres back up. Prezzo has caught a lot up to Clunky Boy. He's only 1.3 seconds back. He might be able to get this move done coming into the race. He has a lot more battery than what Clunky Boy does. If he can get within that 1 second range, I think we could see a change of P5 here. Three laps to go now. They enter lap 54. If the race Slammer's making a pit stop, I think he might try to go fastest lap of the race. Potentially. The gap is now 9/10. I don't think he got DRS in this straight. No, Prezzo doesn't have it this straight. But definitely in the next 3 laps he's going to have an opportunity to make an overtake. Which is going to be great to see. A bit of last lap battling. For the top 5 as well. Monkey Boy obviously driven pretty consistently. Prezzo made that spin which has hurt him. He'd be up a position, but for sure if he didn't make that spin, but he's now well and truly the DRS. Heading in towards the end of the first sector, the gap closes to now 3/10. About a lap ago we saw it being 1.1 seconds here, so Prezzo definitely with the faster pace. And Clunky Boy through the fast left, into the fast right, long right. Prezzo's going to lose a little bit of time through here, I think. Through the dirty air. You see that gap does branch out ever so slightly over to the 5/10 mark now. It'll close a bit into this left-hander. It should escape a little bit again through this long right, but with the long straight in with DRS, it might close in again. We didn't get the best exit. Prezzo's using his battery. I'm sure Clunky Boy is as well. DRS open now for the Red Bull driver. Is he going to make a move this lap? Got a good camera angle. They both go defensive quickly. And around the outside, tries to go Prezzo, brakes much later than what Clunky Boy does. There's still just a bit of racing room left on the exit. There's a bit of contact there. Prezzo getting bumped just towards the edge of the track. I don't think there was any wrong in that. It's hard racing between the two. No damage, I hope. But now 2 laps to go for these drivers. Who's going to come out on top between these two? Two cents in. It does Prezzo go for a move on the inside here. He does. Looks at it. Oh, contact slightly between the two. That was very late. Tried to catch Clunky Boy off guard. I did predict it ever so slightly. Clunky Boy must have as well. As we see, Reshin now put onto the softs. He's lost position because of that. He wants fastest lap, but I don't think that's the right decision, considering he's lost position because of it. Back up to these guys we go. You can see Prezzo bumping Clunky Boy through the corner. Clunky Boy's going to get DRS on this straight as well as Data begins the final lap of this Grand Prix. Quickly flick back to these guys. Clunky Boy and Prezzo. So, the Haas of Shub Kumar is going to keep Clunky Boy. Yeah, give him some DRS, sorry. And I think Prezzo knows that he's not going to use any battery on this straight. There you go, you can see the rear wing open for Clunky Boy. Be under the brakes. Basically push him on the exit of that corner, only 2/10 in it. He looks for a move up inside, can't get it done there. Doesn't get as good of an exit as what Clunky Boy does. Clunky Boy uses DRS yet again from the Haas in front, but next lap, the final of the race, Clunky Boy will not have DRS on anyone. Prezzo will. It's going to be close between these two, going to be interesting. Another lap car behind, but I don't think still he's going to do anything. But in the meantime, I think we'll flick to watch Data as he looks to round out this lap and this Grand Prix. Well, that has been the most exciting race from him. After the first stint he's been on in his own ever since. He's lapped a few cars, but otherwise hasn't had to race any. As he exits the penultimate corner now and heads into the final corner. Your race winner for round 10 of the Endurance Series in Season 8. Watch Data weaves his way across the line. He takes P1 here in China after 56 laps. But looking back down at the field now, we've got Plebs. He's going to take P2. We're going to quickly flick back to Clunky Boy and Prezzo. I think this was one to watch for the final lap here. Prezzo, sorry. Oh, sorry, Prezzo's already got in front of him. I must have missed that one. But Clunky Boy now behind him. Prezzo using his battery. Clunky Boy with DRS and also using his battery behind. Prezzo's able to pull away much quicker. 4.5 in. I don't think Clunky Boy is going to be able to do anything into this final second last corner. No, he's not. It has to pull him behind again. So Prezzo's judged his race well there. And Clunky Boy, oh, nearly with a spin. Line up the rears now instead. He knows he's got P6, but watch Data. He was our race winner. Second on the podium, Plebs. After a pretty consistent race. As I said, definitely wasn't the quickest driver, but sorry, it wasn't the quickest driver tonight, but kept it on the track, and because of that, he's got P2. P3, Bags Liddell. He's done well. Spicy in P4. He started on pole, but with, 3 spins tonight. Consistency is key, and he's finished with the 10-second penalty behind his name as well. If we remove that, he's finished about 25 seconds off the race lead due to those spins. His teammate, Prezzo, comes home P5 after a well-played overtake that we missed, unfortunately, on Clunky Boy. Again, had a consistent race. First, the one-stoppers. Lane Everingham behind him. Unfortunately, disconnected there for a little bit. But he made his way back in. Made it home in P7. We'll go through the rest of the results at their timing screen. But Plebs driver of the day. I'd probably agree with that. Kept it clean, kept it consistent. Yeah, and gained a couple of positions because of it. But watch Data coming onto the podium now. He makes the walk. You know, Mercedes on top step like it was here in the last time he raced in China in real life. The South Korean driver taking the victory for the Mercedes team. There you go, your top 3 done, and I'll run through the race results one final time here before we wrap up here in China. Watch Data takes the victory after 91 minutes of racing. Plebs takes home P2 for Alfa Romeo, followed by Bags Liddell, rounding up the podium in P3. Spicy P4, Prezzo P5, Clunky Boy P6, Lane at P7 after that disconnect. The last driver to not get lapped was Dan the Racer in the Alpine position 8. Roshin overtake the race, definitely in the McLaren P9 after that spin though. He dropped a few positions. Andre P10 in the Ferrari, Old Mate P11, Slammer P12, still in P13, and Kumar disconnected in P14. I Love Controller also disconnected, I believe, after a couple of spins, and then clean break, called it quits in the pit lane. So that will round us out for the Chinese Grand Prix here for the Endurance Series for Season 8. Round 10 that was. It's been a pleasure to have you guys watching alongside me here tonight. I hope you enjoyed the racing, especially towards the end there, a couple good overtakes. Congratulations once again to Watch Data and the podium getters of Plebs and Bags. We'll catch you next week at the same time for the next race. Thanks, bye-bye.